No matter which way you spin it, the Cybertruck is one of the most talked about vehicles to arrive in the market in a very long time. Internet discussion has been ablaze with praise and critiques on its design, performance, and capabilities. While this truck does bring a lot of really great improvements to the table, with any first attempt at doing something special, it's going to have some problems. I did a video recently breaking down some of the issues that the first Cybertruck owners have run into since its launch, but every week more and more people get their hands on this vehicle. As such, we are learning more about some of the problems this vehicle has the further away we get from its launch. Today we're going to break down some of these issues and look at how customers are dealing with them so far, so let's get into it. I detailed a few Cybertruck issues in my last video about this, and first and perhaps foremost for a lot of people is its range. When it was first announced back in 2019, the top trim was promised to deliver a 500-mile range. Currently, the max Cybertruck is 340 miles of range. That's still a pretty respectable range for an EV, especially one of this truck's size, but it's a lot less than we were hoping for. That range is only a theoretical maximum as well that can only be achieved in an absolute best-case scenario. Once you start factoring in weather, high-speed travel, towing, and other driving habits, it's going to be inevitably lower. For a lot of drivers, they'll be able to get by, but for anyone who is hoping to use this truck to tow long distances, that may disappoint. Since initial deliveries, a lot of Cybertruck owners have put their vehicles to the test and found a lot of diminishing returns on range. Going highway speeds out of spec on YouTube managed to deplete their battery in just 254 miles. Another owner who already had managed to rack up 10,000 miles driven reported that he averaged 206 miles between charging. As for when this truck is towing anything behind it, that impacts range even further. Jerry Rig Everything rigged up the 11,000-pound trailer, the truck's max capacity, and drove it in freezing cold from 100% to 2% in just 90 miles. That is obviously a true worst-case scenario for range, but it goes to show how much real-world driving habits can impact range. For a vehicle designed for heavy-duty work and powerful performance, it is currently held back a bit by its range. Tesla does, of course, have their upcoming range extender battery to help resolve some of those issues, but that comes with its own set of problems. In order to raise your max range to 470 miles, that specially installed battery will cost $16,000 and take up 1/3 of your truck's bed space. We don't know when the battery is due to arrive, but it may not be an easy sell for everyone interested in that range boost. This truck, while definitely exceptional in a lot of ways, still has some room for improvement in its current software. Myself and other reviewers have reported instances where our screens went dark, and that's very problematic given how much Tesla wants you to rely on this center screen. For me, I had to take it to service. While Tesla has marketed this truck as being great for off-roading, it still has some key off-roading features software locked at the moment. Perhaps the most crucial of these is differential locking, a feature that locks the car's axle to apply torque to the wheels equally for increased traction. It's not currently available on this truck. This is a very important feature to have in an off-road vehicle, and it's hampering its off-road performance where other vehicles can succeed. Tesla does say in software it will be coming soon. The very design of this truck isn't just aesthetically controversial, but its sharp angles and edges have some people concerned about safety. A viral video went around recently of a Cybertruck cutting through a carrot that had been placed in its closing-powered frunk. That, of course, led to a lot of speculation regarding the potential safety risks of getting a finger caught in that sharp corner. The Throttle House YouTube channel posted their review of the Cybertruck, and towards the end, they amplified this test by putting a full aluminum water bottle into their closing frunk. With almost no effort whatsoever, it pierced the bottle and almost closed completely before bouncing back. For good measure, they replicated this carrot test with 4 carrots this time, and it easily sliced through them. Throttle House further expressed some concerns regarding the general build quality of the vehicle. Interiors were squeaky and groany to them, and that's especially rough for a car that costs nearly $100,000. Other owners reported months back that this truck had some pretty poorly aligned panels and other general issues not becoming of a vehicle in this price range. In my experience with the truck, I didn't see any glaring issues whatsoever, but we're not sure generally how widespread these problems are. The next issue is something that may be inherent to its design. The Cybertruck is famously known for its unfinished stainless steel exterior. While the name stainless steel may imply that it won't rust or tarnish, that isn't the case here. Tesla designed a special 300 series stainless steel alloy for the body of this truck that, while definitely strong, is still struggling against corrosion in the real world. The Cybertruck made a lot of waves when the vehicle's owner manual was posted online and had some concerning things to say about the vehicle's exterior. It says, quote, "To prevent damage to the exterior, immediately remove corrosive substances such as grease, oil, bird droppings, tree resin, dead insects, tar spots, road salt, industrial fallout, etc. All of these substances aren't great on any car's exterior, but since the Cybertruck is unpainted and unfinished, any sustained damage would be to the body of the truck itself." Now, only a few months after its release, some Cybertruck owners are already reporting rust spots on their vehicle. One owner took delivery of his truck and shared what they were told by Tesla service reps. Quote, "The advisor specifically mentioned the Cybertrucks develop orange rust marks in the rain, and that required the vehicle to be buffed out." The owner then posted some pictures of the rust spots that had developed on their vehicle, and it's rough to see how quickly it can start to corrode. The Cybertrucks that are rusting quickly like this have caused a lot of speculation online as to how this could happen. Do these trucks really just rust this fast? A leading theory online is that they may have been spurred on by corrosive rail dust. Vehicles transported by rail can get covered in oxidized metal dust that rubs off during transit, which, when exposed to rain, can jumpstart the corrosion process. It seems like these spots can be buffed out pretty easily, since they are pretty small and surface level, but it does create an interesting paradox for this truck. On the one hand, it's a built tough vehicle that can handle anything you throw at it, and on the other, you have to wash it meticulously if it gets wet at all, at least with certain trucks now with how Tesla is shipping them. Depending on how or where you drive the Cybertruck, you may be getting a lot more car washes than any car you've ever had before, but we'll have to see how this truly holds up long term. Are these initial issues ones that will prove not to be permanent? Will this truck prove itself to be tough enough to be parked outside all the time like Tesla has talked about, or will it actually take more care than other cars? Winter road salt is another concern for most cars, but Tesla specifically mentions the need to remove road salt right away in the owner's manual. Usually this is to prevent damage to the paint rather than the body, but of course, the Cybertruck's exterior is the body. Still though, like the small rust issues we're hearing about, it could just end up being a situation where owners deal with these things building up a bit and then buff them out easily. Tesla's VP of Vehicle Engineering, Lars Moravy, said, "The cool thing about repairing it is, because it is just a scratch finish, depending on how deep you go or whatever, you just get some Scotch-Brite and buff it out." For some customers though, that's not going to be fun. Stainless steel cars are rare at this point, so Tesla is going to be facing a lot of uncharted territory in different situations, and headlines are absolutely going to spread about how this doesn't hold up as well as it was expected to. We'll see how that all actually pans out, and if customers prefer to get their truck wrapped or ceramic coated to prevent these things, or if Tesla ends up painting them long term. The last part seems very unlikely, but we'll see. I partially expect that these are going to be small isolated things people notice at launch, and they won't actually pan out to be larger issues with the truck long term, but we won't know until these have been on the road for longer. Unplugged Performance recently took their Cybertruck out and participated in the Optima Unplugged Off-Road event, and their truck came out a little worse for wear. In their own words, they pushed the vehicle to its limits over 2 days of intense driving, and at the end of day 2, they had an important bolt fail in their Cybertruck. We can see in some of these photos that the broken bolt resulted in the back passenger's side wheel to appear to become dislodged from its axle. The kinds of rigorous off-roading that were being done at this event are known to break parts of any kind of vehicle, and the Cybertruck is no exception. They posted a bunch of photos and a great video of what the Cybertruck was put through, and it's really impressive to see. Of course, though, they pushed it beyond its limit, but that's likely no fault of this truck. They said, quote, "We were going pretty nuts on the truck both days with no concerns whatsoever. As such, we're not concerned with this bolt." This isn't a deal breaker for this car, but it is a reminder that even though it's built for any planet, it is still a truck. Over at the Kilowatts, they got their Cybertruck and immediately proceeded to put it through its paces on a road trip. They mentioned charging from 20 to 99% in 1 hour, driving over 2,100 miles with it, and more, but then the issues popped up. On-screen alerts came up saying automatic emergency braking is unavailable, vehicle hold feature unavailable, stability control disabled. Shortly after, they posted this sad video of them walking away from their brand new Cybertruck at Tesla service, and as of right now, there's no ETA for the parts that they need. This includes the rear steering actuator. On February 13th, they posted that their Cybertruck's estimated repair completion date is March 8th. So that's almost a month wait for it to be in service, less than a week after taking delivery, if that timeline holds up. This is unfortunately how it goes with a brand new vehicle launch, and I experienced this with my Model Y back in 2020. The parts just weren't available yet because it was such a brand new car. This again seems to be an isolated incident, but the Cybertruck will keep facing issues like this since it's so new. It's the first generation and first couple thousand of these trucks ever leaving the assembly line. As Christopher Bow said on Twitter in response, quote, "Any first-gen vehicle will have its gremlins. It will be fixed and you'll still have an amazing truck." With that, he shared a photo of his F-150 Lightning in the shop. One bigger issue the Cybertruck now has is with its wheel covers. The wheel covers are part of the cool design of this truck, and one piece that made it all the way from prototype to production. They also play a big role in efficiency. Quote, "Wheel covers can reduce aerodynamic disturbances by a large amount. Think about it, you've basically got 4 turbines running, blasting air out the sides of your car, air which would be better served by smoothly sweeping around the car, causing fewer disturbances. The net effect of this is that cars with wheel covers on them can gain 5 to 10% more efficiency. These have worked great for years on the Model 3 and Y, but for the Cybertruck in practice, they're actually wearing down the tires. Currently, Tesla has stopped putting these aero covers on the Cybertruck and is delivering Cybertrucks without wheel covers. They are in the process of redesigning them. Quote, Cybertruck wheel covers seem to be too close to the tire, as they are rubbing against the sidewall during operation. This becomes visible on most Cybertrucks with a couple thousand miles on them, and while this isn't an official recall, Tesla is reportedly calling this a parts containment pending revision. Quote, what's happening is that while driving, tires naturally flex outward at the bottom when contacting the road, and as the sidewall of the tire bulges out, it contacts the edge of the aero wheel cover, which gradually wears down the tire. The material here is rubber as opposed to hard plastic like the rest of the cover, which could signal that Tesla tried to remedy this issue earlier, but it ended up not being enough. For current owners, it's likely best to remove these covers to preserve your pricey tires, even though there will be a negative impact on efficiency. I also wouldn't want to see what would happen if these were allowed to keep wearing down the tire, but that could be something we see unless Tesla clearly communicates this issue to owners. The rumored timeline for a fix here is March, but we'll have to see. Tesla often doesn't communicate too much in this regard, so it could be some time before the wheel covers return on newly delivered trucks. Another issue with the Cybertruck is one that comes fully from its design. When the tonneau cover is closed on the Cybertruck, there is no view out of the back window. In the original prototype, Tesla remedied this with a rear view mirror camera, but in production, the camera is simply put on the center screen. It's definitely weird to get used to, but not all that bad until it gets dirty. For the front-facing camera on the Cybertruck, there's a washer. A button on screen allows you to clean this off if it gets dirty, but for the rear camera, if it gets dirty, you're stuck until you clean it. I noticed this a bit when driving it, but Throttle House got a really good shot of it, showing what happens. At the end of the day, even if they had put in a rear view mirror screen showing the camera feed, the feed can become useless if the camera is dirty. I think this is a major oversight by Tesla, and this almost should have been flipped. I guess the idea is that the front camera would get dirty more easily when off-roading, but the rear camera isn't just nice to have. It's actually necessary to see behind you anytime the tonneau cover is closed. The tonneau increases efficiency by around 10% according to Tesla executives, so you want this closed whenever you can. The last issue to talk about with the Cybertruck is its general lack of availability and what that leads to. This is brand new, and in order not to deliver trucks with more issues for people to talk about like this, they are likely taking extra care when scaling up. Still though, customers want this thing as soon as they can get it, but Tesla has prevented resale with their no resale clause. Essentially, customers are unable to resell their truck within the first year. Still, people are figuring out ways around this. A Florida exotic car rental service has a Cybertruck listed on Facebook Marketplace, of all places, for a jaw-dropping $275,000, well over twice this truck's MSRP. Others are going for more modest prices across the country, with some coming in between $115,000 and $150,000. The Inside EV's survey of Cybertruck flippers noted that most of the examples that they found for sale had not yet been delivered. Most of them still had anticipated delivery dates well into March and even April. Tesla is estimated to deliver less than 50,000 units this year, so they are definitely trying to capture a market that really doesn't want to wait. Some owners have been listing their trucks as leases, and that may be a way for them to skirt around Tesla's rule for resale. One truck out of San Diego is listed for a 1-year lease worth $162,000. Once the year-long lease is over, which is exactly as long as Tesla's anti-flipping clause, they will let the leasee buy the truck for just 1 cent. This kind of thing is clearly a way for resellers to try to get around the flipping clause. Separately, a Cybertruck in West Hollywood reportedly sold for $250,000. It's unclear how this would have gotten around the clause, but they may have gotten creative. Interestingly enough, Tesla recently allowed certain customers to skip the line when it comes to Cybertruck deliveries. As part of their referral program, they offered an award to accelerate your Cybertruck delivery. Quote, redeem referral credits to accelerate your Cybertruck delivery. Be invited to configure and take delivery of your Foundation Series all-wheel drive or Cyberbeast within 45 days of redemption. If you miss your chance to claim, check back later, additional accelerated deliveries. This award went for 30,000 credits, which can be earned with 3 referrals, and it sold out within a couple hours. Tesla does say there will be additional accelerated deliveries, but this is a very interesting award. They are allowing people who refer people to skip the line. For customers who really want this truck and didn't pre-order immediately in 2019, it's a great option, but I'm sure it will frustrate customers as well. It's also funny to consider that you are, quote, paying 30,000 credits so that you can pay the $20,000 markup for the Foundation Series. You're paying those premiums to get this truck that many people want now, but you're also potentially taking on the risk of issues we talked about throughout this video. The Cybertruck is a pretty crazy thing to see actually shipping to customers, and issues are going to be a part of this process with any product that is so new and different like this. With that said, many of these things are isolated or things that will be smoothed out with time. It's always exciting to get the new things right away, but it does lead to the idea that maybe it's best to wait a couple years to truly buy this product, especially if you aren't exceptionally eager or in need of it today. In time, the price will at least drop below foundation markups, and it could drop further. Then Tesla will already be iterating on it and fixing any of the issues that pan out to be true problems in long-term ownership. I hope this video was helpful, and in general, it's good to see that most of these issues are pretty isolated. But what do you think? Is this par for the course for a brand new product, or something that is unacceptable? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. In the meantime, if you want to see the latest Tesla news, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.